Yeah, so we're back here again. Sorry to cut out. We have a little bit of technical difficulties, but I just wanted to reiterate the question that we didn't catch apparently about the one story that you had when you were a kid about the one girl that was burnt alive. Could you tell that to the class for us?
Sure, I'd be glad to. This was a time period, it was in 1968. I was in 8th grade, so I was 13, almost 14 years old at the time. And one of my close friends, Annette, had a younger sister, Betty, who was in the 6th grade. We were all Caucasian, and as the tensions continued within that neighborhood and in that community, it kind of hit a particular peak that particular spring because Betty had dated some of the black boys there, and the girls at Mount Rainier did not receive this well. So what they did is they actually beat Betty up at the time. They, I think, were pretty caustic to her and did severe damage. Took her in a local apartment building, took her in the basement. Somehow got her actually in a area rug that had been soaked with gasoline, set that rug on fire as Betty was inside the rug and burned her very severely. She was later rushed to one of the area hospitals. She required an amputation of one leg as the surgeons tried to save her life because the burns were so terribly extensive. She did survive that for a number of days. The second leg had to be later amputated because the burns were so severe. Gangrene was setting in. Betty later died a couple days after that incident happened. I remember attending the funeral home where she was laid out, a very small casket. And I just remember Betty being as tall as I was, and now she was reduced down to this very small juvenile casket. It greatly affected Annette's life. She suffered later on a lot of depression, was later diagnosed with bipolar disease, and I think part of Annette's mental health was because of the trauma of seeing Betty's death. That was a very poignant piece of my childhood. That was one I'll never forget. That was a tension that didn't belong, didn't have a purpose, didn't have a place, but that just spoke to the anger and the lack of control and the ugliness that spoke in 68. I don't know what the legal consequences were to the girls that were involved in that, but it was pretty ugly. It was not acceptable for white girls to date black boys, and those girls wanted to get Betty's and everybody else's attention at that time period.
Unbelievable.
It was pretty bad. That was in 1968. Very close to the time period about King's death.
Right.
It was all at that same time period.
Well, thank you for opening up. It must have been hard for
It was pretty ugly.
everyone.
In high school, we had a lot of spring racial riots, too. Every spring, we had race riots at our high school. It was a very tumultuous time period in Prince George's County
Yeah.
growing up. A lot of racial images.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.